welcome to the second vlog in our new channel. My name's George.
And I'm Trish.
And we're the CaravanningMacs. Before we start the video today, can we first of all say a huge thank you to everybody who's been kind enough to send us messages of support and encouragement after our first vlog earlier this week. We've even had some people subscribe. It's all really very much appreciated, and we thank you very much for all your messages. If you haven't watched that first video, you might find it worthwhile catching up on that, because it's a useful introduction to what you're going to see today. In today's video, we're going to outline what first got us into caravanning and how that story's changed, just about 50 years ago. So I'm going to let Trish start that story.
Well, way back in 1973, we'd only been married 2 years. George was a newly qualified teacher, and being summer, we felt that we really wanted to go on holiday, but having been a student, we didn't have much money.
We didn't have any money.
Well, George had been camping before, but I hadn't, but we decided we'd give it a try anyway. So we got a very small tent.
A very, very small tent.
And everything that goes with it, and decided that we'd go for a week's holiday camping in the Highlands of Scotland. Well, first 4 or 5 nights were great. Weather was lovely and we had a great time. And then we decided to move on to Skye. Went there, it was lovely, and George found a spot and he said that would be really good to spend the first night.
In the tent.
Yeah. So we started to pitch up, and then it started to rain. And it rained. And it rained. So it was obviously the wrong spot, but we were there anyway. But we ended up calling it
Midge HQ. We were infested.
Yeah, so we spent the night swatting and scratching, and George got quite a few swats as well. Next morning we decided enough was enough. So we packed everything up and we decided we'd spend the last couple of nights of our holiday in a little B&B. Problem was, although we were nearly 24 years of age, we only looked about 18, and we had a real problem convincing the landlady that we were actually married, and at one point she even asked to see my wedding ring to prove it.
Looking at us now, you wouldn't think that could be true. But then that autumn we started new jobs, we had a new house, new neighbours, and as we got to know them, we found out that in the summertime it was their regular occurrence was camping on Jersey for their holidays. They went camping on Jersey, and when they described it to us and when we saw some photographs, we thought it was a marvellous idea, and when they invited us to join them, well, we didn't need a second ask. So we got ourselves equipped with a proper big tent and all the other equipment that goes with it. And the only problem was that the car we had then was a Mini, and everybody knows that a Mini has only a tiny boot. So when the camping kit and the tent and the sleeping bags all went into the car, filled the boot, filled the inside of the car, there was hardly any room left for us.
That's true.
But nevertheless, we went camping in Jersey, and we had 4 or 5 years of marvellous fortnights in the sun, enjoying ourselves camping. Yeah. And we absolutely hated having to get back on the ferry and drive 400 miles back to Scotland and wait another year before we could do it all over again. Yeah. But funnily enough, that big old tent got revived years and years later when we were actually living here. I used to take my son to Silverstone to the Grand Prix, and we used to camp on the campgrounds near the circuit. And the only problem was those weekends tended to be quite wet. Rain was the order of the day, and it was then we discovered that the big old tent was no longer waterproof. But we got 4 or 5 really good years of camping, but that came to a bit of a stop late in the 1970s with the birth of our daughter. And everybody knows how difficult it is camping with a baby or a toddler. So we were a bit of a loss to work out what we were going to do for our summer holidays. And then I discovered an advert for a local company that was doing caravan rental. Just by chance we had changed our car, and by real good fortune we had bought a car with a tow bar fitted, so we were almost ready to go. Off we went to the company to rent the caravan. It was a Piper, and we loaded everything into the caravan, everything we needed, everything for our daughter, and headed off for our first time towing a caravan. Had a really long tour of England, ending up on the Norfolk coast. And I can tell you then that so far as caravanning was concerned, at that point, we were hooked.
Then in 1981, after the birth of our son, we experienced some more life changes. George got the opportunity of working abroad, in working as a civilian support for the British Army in Germany. It was like living in a little English town set in the middle of Germany. It was fantastic.
Wonderful.
We loved it. There was lots of opportunities for outdoor activities, and caravanning was really popular there. So with Europe on our doorstep, we decided to join that caravanning community and take the opportunity of buying a caravan. And having had the experience with the Piper, we thought, buy something that we're familiar with. So off George went to Kent to pick up a new Piper caravan, drove all the way back to Calais and took the to Dover.
To Dover.
And got the ferry to Calais and then drove it all the way back home in the middle of December. Yeah. Well, we had lots of holidays in that Piper caravan. We went all over Germany, Denmark, south of France, even experiencing bitterly cold weekends away in the middle of the winter in the Rhine Valley.
Yep, December and January in the Rhine Valley.
But we loved it.
Yeah. It was when we spent time on those European sites that we began to look at European caravans that I had known nothing about until then. And we noticed that in some respects some of those were more practical in terms of our use and slightly better equipped, and so we thought about a change. And over the next 9 years we had a couple of vans, German vans from the German manufacturer Bussner, and these were terrific. We had more trips all around Germany, Italy, Switzerland, which gave us so many wonderful memories and provided great experiences for our children as they grew up. So the good times continued with the Bussner caravans until November 1989, when there was a world-changing event that many people will remember, the fall of the Berlin Wall. It quickly became clear that Europe was going to change and that there would be a big reduction in the numbers of forces and civilian personnel needed in Germany. We had a decision to make, whether to stay and wait till the base closed and risk not getting the kind of job that I was looking for back in the UK, or to start looking back in the UK pretty much straight away and get the sort of job that I was looking for. We decided to do it straight away, and it wasn't too long before I applied for and got pretty much the first job that I was looking for. Luckily enough, in a location that meant our daughter could continue her music studies, not very far from where we still live now.
Yeah. Wasn't all good news though. It meant we had new jobs, bigger commitments, which meant that our way of life and our holidays had to change. So we had to think long and hard, and after much soul searching, we decided to sell the caravan and move back to the UK.
So what followed was a busy few years. We had new home, new jobs, new schools for the kids, and soon afterwards, when our daughter finished university and then got married, that was followed by our son going to university. That meant there was little time and little money to think about caravanning. But then, after a fabulous 4-week holiday in Canada, when we did more than 2,000 miles in a rented RV, we decided that was the route we wanted to go. So we bought ourselves a new eldest motorhome and had that for a couple of years or so, before that was followed by a new Swift, which was a bit bigger and a bit better equipped. We got a lot of use from those two motorhomes, but it wasn't long after getting the Swift that we encountered a serious mechanical problem. And that's when we saw the rather poor side of the RV business, because the supplying dealer from whom we bought both motorhomes left us completely to fend for ourselves in terms of repair, and to begin with we didn't quite know what to do.
We were quite lucky in that the dealer that I had bought my car from also serviced commercial vehicles. Yep. And they were able to help, weren't they?
Yeah, they quickly diagnosed the fault, organised the part and fitted it. But to be truthful, by then we'd lost confidence in the vehicle and also lost confidence in that particular one dealer. So we decided to get back into caravanning, and we quickly traded the motorhome in for a new Swift caravan, and by way of celebration planned a really nice tour of Scotland. It was great to be back in a caravan.
Yeah. Again, we started to plan trips away in our caravan, which we really enjoyed. After a while, however, work commitments began to encroach on our trips away, and we found that we weren't able to get away as often as we would like, and the caravan sat for long periods of time on the driveway. So after about 3 years, we decided that we would have to sell. But about 12 years ago, George was given the opportunity to take early retirement, which gave him the chance to look after grandson number one, to help out looking after him, to help our daughter and son-in-law. Soon after, grandson number two appeared, but luckily by that time I had also retired, and I was able to help out and thoroughly enjoy with George looking after both boys.
And then before we knew it, it was 2018, and by that time both boys were quite well established in school, and we began to think again about caravanning. Yeah. So we started on a crash course on developments in caravanning from YouTube vlogs, and began to look for a small lightweight caravan that we could tow without changing the car that we had at that point. And on a visit to our local dealers, we found a new Bailey Pursuit on which we agreed a good price, and we quickly set about getting ourselves re-equipped and getting back into caravanning.
Yeah. We picked up the caravan in November, and that was swiftly followed by trips away in the van, only stopped by the period over Christmas. That was quickly followed by trips away in the spring, but the highlight of the year was our summer trip tour around Scotland, with taking in areas like Yorkshire, Northumberland and the Lake District.
Then in late 2019 we got the chance to upgrade the Bailey Pursuit to a new Bailey Phoenix, a dealer special with lots of extra goodies. We managed a couple of trips away in January 2020 before lockdown kicked in, and then we lost 5 or 6 trips that we had booked like so many other people. We did get a couple of trips in the autumn of 2020, but currently the van's sitting on the driveway, impatient, the same as ourselves, to get off and see new places as soon as possible.
Our story is now up to date, and as promised in our first vlog, you now know a bit more about our caravanning story.
We hope you found it a little bit interesting and hope that you'll consider watching a bit more from us in the future. We'd like to thank you all for watching. If you've any comments or advice, please contact us in the usual way. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to try and answer those as well. And if you want to use our email, our Twitter or our Facebook pages, you'll find the details of those at the end of the vlog. If you like what you see, you might even consider a click on the subscribe button. And if you ding that notification icons bell, YouTube will let you know when the next vlog is available to watch. We've really enjoyed sharing our caravan story with you today. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time. In the meantime, as we always say, stay safe, stay healthy, keep calm and caravan on. It's cheerio from the Macs. Bye.